Hello, Renee Flamond here. You guys, Minnie's had a very rough week. Today happens to be Friday. I'm filming on a Friday, and this will run on a Friday, but next week. But we've had our AC out Monday through Friday of this week, and of course Orlando's hitting the 90s. We finally got it fixed yesterday, but the poor little bean, I was cutting her hair, putting all the fans on her, keeping her wet with a spray bottle. Look, she's exhausted. Huh, baby doll? Welcome. Hello. Look at her. She's so happy now. This topic today, it crosses over with our normal topic of narcissism. It's interwoven throughout the entire length of this video because, of course, the narcissist that we encounter is perpetually out to make people feel badly. I mean, that's their goal, yes? There are people who actually take pleasure in this, and it's sad. And there was some articles in the news recently, and we're going to unpack them in a minute, but I just reflecting this whole thing of more mistreatment of people by people that just get a charge out of being mean to people. I marvel at these kinds of folk, as I am just the opposite. I'm the opposite. I'm so worried about people pleasing that I forget myself. So I go the other way, and that isn't good either, and that doesn't make me sound like a good person. Like, better than, that's not what I'm saying that to be about. But that can drive you to the point that you say yes to so many things that you know you can't do. And then you overpromise, you underdeliver, you get into that trap. It's hard on, you shouldn't people please either. But I'll take it over intentionally trying to make someone feel bad. And we're not talking about being in a fight with someone. I get pretty mean when backed into a corner. I'm talking about it's a normal day, and some people just get their kicks out of hurting others. And it's beyond the scope of my understanding, and I just don't know how many things have to happen to make it stop. How many campaigns there have to be, how many people have to be killed in the face of all of this kinds of stuff. I don't understand it. I'm going to unpack the story again in a minute, but first, side note, this is going to air, I just thought this was a funny thing, on Friday the 13th. And that freaks a lot of people out. Many people stand by their intense superstitions. And I'm half Italian. My mother's Italian. Her family's Italian. And there's a lot of them. They have many on that side of the family. I remember growing up, no new shoes on the table. That was a big one. No, you can't face your bed with the foot of it facing the doorway. That happens in my house, but because that's how they carry you out when you die. I mean, doing that and spitting and, throwing salt, these things save you from evil. No hats on the bed. Weird ones, right? I find it all very fascinating because for some, superstitions can rule their lives. In my life, I just found this funny. My experience, it's all the opposite. So figure that. I've broken 1,000 mirrors, walked under 1,000 ladders, and I've got the best luck of anyone I know. So anyway, Friday the 13th acknowledgement over. I just thought I'd mention that for those of you that really sweat today. I don't know. I do superstitions sometimes, but you make your own path, I think. So anyway, today's topic is going to be the death of me one of these days. To go back to our bullying video, number 448, which is above in the thumbnail, a few Fridays back now, I'm seeing more recent heartbreaking news. Some of the same old stories that I had mentioned in that video. Current ones, though. 4 teens. They thought this was a good idea. Oh, yes. And then you'll get my reaction. Right, men? Even men woke up. 4 teens trapped a ninth grader in a utility closet, like a bathroom closet. I don't know if that means like the stall with a I don't think so. I think it was like a utility closet for a lengthy amount of time, twice, poured liquid cleaners on him, and called him homophobic slurs and taunted him. Loganville, Georgia, April 17th or March or of this year. This just happened in 2022. This sounds like behavior from the 1600s. Of course, they didn't have a utility closet then, but you know what I mean? What is the antiquated view that would make someone think that's okay? At this point, there have been, for kids that age, they have had anti-bullying education as much as from 80s on had anti-drug, as much as from early 80s on, no smoking, it was bad for you, late 70s, Surgeon General came out with that, I think. They've been brought up with no, but yet they thought this was a good idea. So, and all four are arrested, facing counts and facing court battles, and that's all ahead of them now. So, my question again is, why? Why? Wouldn't it have been easier to just not? And are you kidding me? The story's right here, you guys. Loganville High School, Georgia. And they didn't release the names, but now they have released a couple of names. But you can look it up yourself. I'm not here to release names. But I'm absolutely astounded. Sprayed them with liquid cleaning products and was subjected to harassing comments of a homophobic nature. A 17-year-old will be charged as an adult with 1 count of false imprisonment. 2 other teens face the same charges as juveniles. In addition, a 16-year-old was charged with simple battery and reckless conduct, and a 14-year-old was charged with being party of the crime of reckless conduct. Another 14-year-old, names have not been released. But like I said, I saw an article, I've read a few articles now, and the names are starting to be released. But I'm just astounded. Are we still doing these things in 2022? Are things so bad for you at that young age? How bad could things be for you? And I don't mean to say that, because that at 16, je m'excuse, there could be a child going through in a very abusive situation at home. But I'm guessing that 4 out of 4 of these people are not the same exact situation, that they all had a psychotic break due to their abusive households. Just a guess. These were choices these kids made. These were choices. And you know, it's just things are so bad at home, though, that you want to make someone else's life unbearable to the point that they'd want to maybe eliminate themselves from the earth. That's how bad you're feeling inside, that you want to project that onto a fellow human. They're the same as you. You can't put yourself in that person's shoes. Apparently they can't, and they don't have empathy. But you can't imagine how that must feel for that kid and then choose not to do that behavior. I'm astounded. And like, I would love to ask these current examples, and please, I hope someone does. I really, just why? Just why? And I don't mean a polite talk show questioning. I want answers, real ones. I want to know what they say and who they think they are. There's that question again. It came up in video 448. I just don't get who they think they are. How mad I get. And about what is going through your mind as you are clearly inflicting harm on someone else. What's going through your mind? And 4 of you onto one person. Not one of you stood up, spoke up. No one had their own mind. No one even had the, thing to say, okay, but this isn't fair. There's 4 against 1. I mean, that's like, you learn that in kindergarten. That's not fair. But this is what they do? And was there a leader? Did you all agree on it? Was it planned? Did you all sit around talking about it and ha ha ha, yeah, that sounds good? What? Good? No, really, I have to know. I'm not even kidding. I had to make this video. I have to know. This is a perfect example of how I get on this topic. I'm all flames and questions. I'm livid. And if I were one of these kids' parents, oh my Lord in heaven, I'd be mortified as a parent. And I'm not saying that the kids do this because of the parents. Could be related in many ways. But that's not for us to say. I don't know these people. But I would be mortified as a parent. Mortified as a sibling of any one of these 4 kids. Mortified as a grandparent, an aunt, a future employer, a future college they might want to go to. What are you thinking? You want to take that moment in your young life where you can choose a trajectory that takes you to college, choose a trajectory that takes you to beauty school, plumbing school, whatever your path is. It doesn't have to be college. Whatever it is, musician, actress, you ruined it. Or put a big fat stain on it, or a big delay in you getting going on your life's plan. What were you thinking? It doesn't make any sense to me. All 4 arrested. So then I want to say, so do you still stand by your actions now? Still now. Good idea all around? Everyone has lost with this idea. Everyone. And the peripheral damage is even bigger. Because like I said, all 4 people's parents, all 4 people arrested's families, they're mortified, they're concerned, they don't know why their kid did this. Maybe they're bullies too, I don't know. Again, I don't know these people. But talk about the peripheral damage for the kid that was bullied. You gotta go home and tell your parents what happened to you. You know what movie makes me cry? Whew. The Breakfast Club. It's not a deep movie. Well, it's a deep movie, but it doesn't, but Emilia Estevez's character says in that movie that he can't imagine what Anthony Michael Hall had to tell his parents, saying, go home and tell his father that he was bullied. Or the kid, it wasn't Anthony Michael Hall, it was another kid that they bullied or something. I can't believe I'm not remembering. Yeah, I don't think he bullied Anthony Michael Hall. But anyway, he said, and all I can picture is that kid having to go home and tell his parents. The peripheral damage will be for years to come for all of these people involved. And not one of you stood up. I'm in shock at that. So I'd like to know the truth. Even if law isn't involved in this case, everyone has lost. Even if all of their charges are dropped and they get away with it because they're, under a certain age, they lost. So you didn't gain by making someone feel bad. And my question continually is, how is it that you feel you did? How is it that you feel you won by making someone feel bad? And there is the narcissist, right? How? How do you win if you make someone else feel bad? I just don't get it. At night, okay? Say, after you've picked on someone, ruin their day sufficiently, whether you're one of those kids that tortured that kid or you're a narcissist torturing their, partner Do you look up at the ceiling lying in bed like at night thinking like, okay, great job. Who can I get tomorrow? Or is it, why'd I do that? What's wrong with me? Now, sometimes when it comes to the narcissist, I don't think they can stop their behavior. I don't. But I've seen my narcissist say that kind of thing. Like, I don't know what's wrong with me. I've been this way 40 years. I don't know why I do that. So that's kind of saying, why'd I do that? What's wrong with me? Because I'm not saying they're sitting there sad about it. But do they ever even ask, I gotta know? Like later on, or do they just say, yeah, that was a good one. Let's plan tomorrow's. And if you do think that way, don't you recognize, again, with all of the information this generation has had thrown at them in the way of, oh my God, streaming this, documentary that, 6-piece biopic on Netflix this, movie that. These kids know this behavior is not correct. They don't need parents to teach them. They're not growing up with 3.5 channels if, your antennas were working and you got PBS. They have information constantly, computer. They know exactly what's right and wrong. And they know the ramifications that this kid's going to suffer. Just like it shocks me that narcissists stay so far in the dark about their own behavior. But that's, I think, because I know my audience is about, we hug my age. I don't think that people of our age were very into learning all that kind of stuff, especially men. Like, I didn't know many 20-year-old friends who were sitting around in the library researching mental issues and how to handle things. And even on computers. That's not what men are looking up. So they stay in the dark about narcissism, these older people, right, that we've experienced in our coupledom with people, a narcissist in our lives. They go through life never knowing what they have or why they do what they do. Many of them stay strongly in their conviction and they won't budge. They'll hold a grudge. They think they're right. They think they're righteous. A narcissist pretty much does stay in the dark. But they may say, I don't know what's wrong with me. I've done this 40 years. Oh my God, a teenager doesn't have that excuse. They know exactly what they're doing. They probably modeled it after something else they read or saw, which was probably trying to punctuate that it is a wrong behavior. I don't know if these teenagers have extenuating mental health issues who do this kinds of behavior upon other kids. I don't know. The famous movie Boys Don't Cry with Hilary Swank breaks your heart. I don't know what these kids are going through in their mind, but all I know is it's 2022. We all have way too much access to way too much information these days that we all know this behavior of picking on people is not right. It's been shown, it's been proven, it's been tried and true, yet here we are with it happening again. I'm truly disturbed. I'm truly disturbed. And I opened up 2 things, because this one, you type in bullying articles. Here's the sad state of affairs. There's a lot of them. We're not going to read the articles. I'm just going to show you a couple of tidbits of the titles. Disruptive kindergartners are likely to be bullied later in elementary school. School students who had COVID report stigma and bullying. Can you imagine that? I didn't even think of that. That in high school, junior high school, that could be a stigma. When we were younger, it was, what was it? It was mono. Remember the kissing disease? I never had it, but I remember it was like somebody had mono, and it was like not a stigma like this. And nobody bullied them. We teased them. Like, oh, you kissing, But COVID, I didn't even think of that. And if they have, the world is so divided on vaccine, not vaccine. You have a very emphatic parent who's like anti one way or pro another way, and they're putting things in the kid's head, and that kid goes to school and they're next to a kid who had COVID, and out comes the parent's maybe attitude. And it's bullying. That's a terrible thing to do. Oh my God. Bullying linked to gender and sexuality often goes unchecked in schools. We talked about that on video 448, I believe, without looking it up. I believe we did. Because I don't think that teachers and principals and administrators really know the line over which they should go. Do you know what I mean? I'm not a teacher. I give them all the credit in the world. It's got to be the hardest job ever. But, I mean, you're shaping minds and stuff. But you want to, if you see I couldn't keep my mouth shut. So would I get fired? Would I interrupt? Would I yell at the bully who's 13? Like, you can't do that. So it goes unchecked. It goes unchecked. How to reduce prejudice amongst groups of children at school. Talking about whether or not they are black, white, Indian, Asian. Blah, blah, blah. I live in Orlando. My daughter's school pictures look like the UN. Okay, we live near Disney. People come in from all over the world to work here. So we live in a very varied area, but a lot of places don't. So a kid comes in, they have a different skin color, a different eye shape, they're going to get bullied. What do parents do if their child is bullied at school? What do parents do if your child is the bully rather than the victim? I think my head would come off my body. I mean, it's my hot button. I'm crying just at the thought of kids getting bullied. No way. And I told you before, I always told my daughter, if you're in school, if you're in college, if you're in middle school, I don't care what. If you see a kid who's not even being bullied, but just like alone, confused, please reach out to them. Please reach out to them. Don't ever let a kid go feeling any kind of anything negative. If you can help, help. So, telling kids homophobia is wrong won't stop bullying in schools. That's another article. And I can see that. So you're at home and homophobia is wrong. That's not a right way to feel. That doesn't tell a kid. No, you have to sit them down and explain to them with these 2 30-minute videos or hours and hours and hours and hours throughout their life. I'm making a joke, obviously. That the bullying part is wrong. Homophobia is wrong as well. Have that conversation with them. But you got to address the bullying. Because no reason, not homophobia, not skin color, not this, all the one says, do rich kids or poor kids get bullied more? The difference between bullying and everyday life. Okay, so you got rich, you got poor, you got to tell your kids that there's no reason you should bully anybody. You don't know what kind of day they're having, you don't know what kind of life they're having. Why children with autism often fall victim to bullies. Okay, we're going to close the phone there because can you please? Autism. We're going to bully people with autism. Now that's a newly defined disease. That word wasn't around when I was in high school. It might have been in the medical community, but in high school, no. And I look back and I think of a few kids that probably had it, but we didn't have that diagnosis then. And we just thought of them as they were different, but I was nice to those people. You're going to bully those people? I don't care if you have the words for it or not. You're going to bully those people. That's what you think is a good idea. I can't imagine looking back and bullying those people that are in my head right now. That breaks my heart. That breaks my heart. And the same goes for the narcissists, because it's all about just going through life hurting people. Are you feeling okay about that? And how? And you didn't win. And we all know the type of person. They'll do anything to get ahead at work. They'll step over people and feel fine, happy even because they won. I'm just not built that way. So my question is, how do you feel that you won because you made someone else feel bad? How? I don't get that. Somebody please explain it to me. I hope this video finds somebody who is a bully and maybe they can explain it to me because I don't understand. And I don't just take it as, oh, pardon me, oh, well, that's just the way they are. No! That's why it goes unchecked in schools. That's why it goes unchecked at home. That's why it goes unchecked. If these kids need help, get them help. And that wasn't something that was done when I was younger either. I didn't know any kids, teenagers that were in counseling. I have plenty of friends now whose kids are in counseling in their teenage years. It's commonplace. Because we've evolved as a community. And we accept that people need counselors and therapy. And maybe it will be a teenager going through something, of course. But if you don't take the steps to get your child the help that they need, this is the result. Loganville, Georgia. This poor kid. I just cannot even just picture that. I mean, this poor kid, please, if you know anybody that is suffering from any kind of this or whatever, share with them this video, share with them 448, and reach out to them and reach out to the kid who was bullied and let them know they are worthy. You're climbing an uphill battle after something like happened to this kid. That's an uphill battle, but I would never give up. I would spend the rest of my days telling that kid every single second they are worthy and valuable, because that's just not right what happened to that person. Anyway, I'm sorry. I just really want to know how people think that they win if they make someone else feel bad. I don't get it. It doesn't line up. Right, Min? Oh, look at the baby. I'm glad she's with us. She's back. She's been lethargic all week. Okay, I'm going to wipe my eyes. I'm going to let you go. Thank you so much for joining. Please go ahead and hit sub, like, and share, and I will see you next time.